Okay, hey, welcome to Morning Break. We're gonna pretend like that didn't happen because it was sort of going out there somewhere, but we're not exactly sure where it was going. If you saw that, pretend like you didn't, and pretend like we're starting all over again. Hey, I'm Rob Patz. It's the Morning Break. It is good to be here. It happens. Yeah, it happens. You know what? I'm not totally. I'm gonna start differently this time. I'm not totally sold on this shirt. What do you think of this shirt? It, it looks okay. It's I usually really like blue. Not I'm gonna be really, really honest. I'm gonna be very transparent, which is what I like to do on the show. And that is, I don't know if it makes me look even older than I am. I mean, I am getting older. Birthday coming up next month. If you're so inclined to wish me a happy birthday next month, the 24th, which, if I'm not mistaken, I would be able to be on the air. Let's check together and see really quick. Yeah, let's check really quick and see if. Oops, no, that, that's me. Don't do that, Rob. Sometimes, golly, Miss Molly. The 24th is a Wednesday. We will likely be doing this show. How cool is that? I mean, if everything works the way it's supposed to, I mean, how cool is that? We're excited. And I think that, and in the false start that we had, I talked a little bit about this, about doing this more often. This is the fourth time this week. We don't do Thursdays because I do a show called Thrive with my buddy Jason Webb, and we get a chance to talk. And yesterday, by the way, thank you yesterday. If you did watch Thrive yesterday off YouTube, because that's where we're at, thank you. Appreciate that so very much. It was neat to see you. If you were here, of course, Abundant TV runs it. It'll run today, actually at noon. So if you don't have the app, you can go download the app. It's on the App Store, Abundant TV. But, you know, I have been really thinking about this, and I love doing this. Um, it's humbling. It's humbling to get notes from people who have been like, "Hey, Rob, love what you're doing." And again, we talked about this kind of when we started, that this was at some point going to be kind of like a morning show on radio, because that's where I got my start. I got my start in radio. Love radio still to this day. Still follow a lot of my friends who are on radio still, and so that's kind of the vibe of where we're going. Will we play music? Somebody asked me that. I don't think so. I think it'll be more. It will do some interviews, probably. The show is evolving as we speak. When I originally started this, it was for radio. It was just going to be a half hour once a week. It was a way for me to kind of scratch the itch. If you've ever been a part of broadcasting, TV, radio, anything like that, uh, there's always that feeling that this is something that, you know, you feel good doing, and it's a part, especially in my case as a Christian. I believe this is part of my calling. Do I think this is my whole calling? No. Which I was really challenged the other day. Heard this guy, and he was talking about his calling versus, you know, what his job is. And I agreed to a certain extent, and then I disagreed the rest, because he said, if it's your calling from God, and something happens and you're not able to do it anymore, is it still your calling? And I think it's still your calling. And he used a singer as a reference, which I'm not a singer. My wife is a singer, but I don't think our calling, because there are different seasons in life, I don't think our calling changes. Um, So, and I'll be a perfect example of my analogy. I started off in radio and television in my early 20s. Uh, And really it was not a situation where I wanted to do anything else. And I really did. So from my early 20s until I was for about 15 years, to be honest, in some way or another, I was involved in local radio or television. It was not always radio. In fact, actually, radio was short lived compared to the rest of my career. Though I did a syndicated radio show. So if you liked Southern gospel music and you listened, especially late 90s into the 2000s, I did a syndicated radio show called Southern Styles. And so that was a lot of fun. So I was in radio in that way, but really I was in TV for goodness, uh, a good part of my career till 2012. And then I got into some other stuff, which I loved doing, but that really took away from me doing TV. So basically, from 2012 until 2022, or about a 10-year period, I really didn't do anything in TV or radio. I was a guest a lot of times on different radio shows and podcasts and things like that, but really was not daily active. And then, of course, a lot of you probably know the story. My wife and I were engaged at the time, and I told her, "Hey, listen, I want to start a Christian television network, an app-driven Christian television network," and we did. It's called Abundant TV, celebrating 3 years. But during that time, also God really kind of brought back some desire to do this, to communicate. Am I the best communicator? Heavens no. My mind is working 24 hours a day, and it's working on three things probably while we're talking right now. So does it always make me the best communicator? No. Does it make me funny? Sometimes. Sometimes I really have a good time. And at least I think I'm funny. And isn't that half the battle? You think you're funny. Anyway, so I appreciate this. But I really, back to my point about this, I don't think God, uh, if he gives you a gift to do something and you can't do it for circumstances, mine being my career went a different direction. I don't think the calling or the anointing from God changes because of that. I was able during that time to be able to mentor some other folks who were doing it. And so I look at it that way. Same thing with singers. I mean, if you're not singing, you're still probably you could coach, you can do all kinds of stuff. So that's my a long story to tell you. I disagreed with that guy. That's my thing. Mm, great coffee today. The folks at 7 Weeks Coffee, one of our great sponsors, go to 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 to get great coffee. And it's amazing. Plus, they've got a great story, and they truly line up with a lot of the values that I have and my wife have. Go to 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 when you order and get a discount. The coffee is amazing. I get fresh ground. I get whole beans so that I can grind it fresh. Is what I was going to say. But they do have ground coffee. They also have K cups. If you're like me, which by the way, and the theme of the week definitely has been that on Amazon, I got they've got these new filters that just came out for your Keurig where you can use fresh ground coffee in there. Oh, game changer, life changer. I don't want to overemphasize how good it is, but literally it is really, really good. And so appreciate the folks 7 Weeks Coffee. Again, use the promo code ATV10 when you order, and we appreciate it. Weather forecast, as you can see, the weather over here, so you can see throughout the country. It's going to be a warm one. New York City today, high 86. LA 81, which is some decent weather, especially with all their smog. Hot. It'll probably feel very hot. Chicago 89. Thunderstorms in Miami and 92. If you're a weather person like I am, it's kind of interesting because what's happening is there are some storms off the shore there. It's kind of an interesting thing. You can check on that yourself. I am not a meteorologist, though I have played one on television. I didn't tell people. I just told them I was doing the weather. I did not pretend to be a meteorologist. Just want to settle people down. And 95 in Denver and partly cloudy skies. Look at the weather from around the country here on the morning break. Hey, if you have a city, leave in the comments that you want me to do the weather. Monday will be our next morning break. And how exciting is this? This is truly humbling for me. Hey, listen, I don't know if you follow stories, and a lot of you have kids, but state of Louisiana is uh, preparing to sue the platform that hosts Roblox. Now, I don't know a lot about Roblox, so I'm not going to say anything about that. I've seen it, I know what it is, but they are filing this suit against the makers of Roblox because they say they're not protecting kids. It's very interesting. And it's an interesting story. And I think that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this is online safety is going to become more paramount, I think, in the next year, 2 years. And so if you're a mom or dad, put the parental, checks in there. And I know that you can't be with them and it's on their phone now. It's everywhere. So, but have the hard talk about it. And it's something that I think is going to become more and more um really in a forefront over the next couple of years because we're seeing younger and younger kids having phones and it's not debate. And here's the debate part that I think we all have to talk about is how much of that responsibility falls on the parent and how much falls on the company. And that's to me is kind of interesting because I can see the platform's argument, which is we're putting out a product, we ask all the right questions, we can't govern everything. I get that. And they're saying, "Hey, be a parent." If you don't like something, be a parent. And I get that. But at the same time, if you are creating a platform, so here's where I'm going to argue back on the other side is if you're going to create a platform like Roblox, again, don't know a lot about it, but if you're going to create a platform like that, hey, listen, what are you doing to fail safe it for kids? Because it is super, super important that we protect our children while they're online. And of course, I can hear the folks out there who say they limit their kids' screen time, and that's good. Hey, listen, more power to you. I think you should. Some parents, screen time is important. Hey, listen, I either way. Listen, I want to talk about another thing that's it's kind of interesting. And if you're like me and you follow along on Facebook and you get inundated with stories and stuff, and you go, I wonder if that's real or not. I wonder if that's like legit. Story this last week that was out about this orca that attacked his trainer was not true. And it was an AI driven story. And what happened is they created an AI piece and did that. And you can do a lot of stuff with AI if you're involved in it, that AI is part of the future. I totally believe that. I think we're going to see more and more AI driven content. Do I like that? No, because they could replace me, do a much better job, and it actually sound decent. But the reality is you have to be very careful, do your research, especially on social media when you see something like that. But it is another debate that we're going to be having is the role of AI and how AI tells stories. And I think that's super interesting. And for me, I think we have to really look at what AI does as far as content creation. It can do some incredible things. It can also be a train wreck. And so I think that's kind of one of those things that I want to be very careful of and be very mindful of. And I tell people this is you have to be very just mindful of it. How about that? That's what I'm going to say. Yeah. By the way, you ready for fall? I talked about my shirt and I led in with that, and I wanted to talk about it because are you feeling older? Are you feeling like you're at an age now where like you sometimes feel I want to give you some of the fashion stuff. Pulled some stuff. It was Glamour magazine actually had a thing out. By the way, so big thing for women this year is fake furs. Fake fur coats are going to be hot. I remember the first time when real furs were hot, and then when my mom, when I was I think in college, they were back in. My mom had one. And the big color this year, is purple. Purple is going to be the big fall color, which is great for me. University of Washington Husky guy. Love that. Love the fact that purple is kind of the color of the year. Also, something interesting, and this is something that I think if you've gone into anytime in the last few years, um, there's a real this year, this fall, there's going to be a real shift away from the animal prints to more solid colors, which I think is interesting. Also, and hey, this is exciting to me because when I was a little kid, my mom dressed me in plaids. Plaids are back, ladies and gentlemen. Plaid colors are back. And the reason, according to several sources, the reason for kind of the bold things were just it's a solid purple color, going away from prints and stuff like that, and to more plaids and things like that, is optimism. That's what they say. Now, do I dress different when I'm optimistic? I have never. I have to be completely honest with you, and leave me a comment if you do. Do you dress differently when you're optimistic? I don't know. I don't know. Saw a trend for men, by the way, that I wanted to pass along. The multicolored sweaters, the dark multicolored sweaters, late 80s, early 90s that were out there that all men wore. I had several. Most have now since disappeared because they were old and needed to be donated. But no, seriously. So for men, multicolor sweaters. Also, and this is totally to me kind of an exciting trend this fall. And this several locations, including GQ magazine, talked about this. Is we're going to see this year the return to more of a dressed man look, of a lot more button down collars, a lot of more button up shirts. Now, there's a difference. Do you know, if you're watching this, do you know the difference between a button down collar and a button up shirt? They both look like dress shirts. And I just learned this, by the way. I don't remember who I learned it from, so I can't give them credit. But I learned this. I was this week old when I learned this because I never, I know it, and I love dressing. I love dressing in cool clothes, but I did not know this. A button up shirt isn't like this. This is a button up shirt. A button down shirt is a shirt that has a collar on it. I call those button collared shirts. Obviously, that wasn't correct, but they have a button collar. And so they are meant, by the way, a button up shirt like this is meant to be worn open, like untucked. Where a shirt with a collar on it, with a button collar, is meant to be worn tucked in. Done both. I honestly can tell you, I did not know that rule until this week. So if you see pictures of me that are older, don't judge because I didn't know. Also, one of the fun things out of that, I don't know if you've been following it or not, uh, is the whole polo. They've got the bear out. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but yes, the polo bear is back. Ralph Lauren has made a return with the polo bear, and he is like a James Bond character. If you haven't seen them, go check it out. I love Polo stuff, but Polo is making a real comeback, and it's kind of that they call it collegiate. My mom used to call it that, and they have brought that terminology back. So for men and women, the collegiate look is back. Polo is back, and which I'm grateful for because I love polo. I've got a ton of polo stuff. You may see it this fall as we continue to do the morning break. We'll break out some polo stuff for you. Also, and see, I'm not sponsored by Polo. I need Ralph Lauren to hook me up with some clothes, and I will make sure to wear it in every every episode. I will wear it if he becomes a sponsor. I would wear it in every show. But so that's kind of it. Ties are coming back. Men are dressing more. Jeans are still popular, by the way, which I'm thankful for because I love my jeans. But men are dressing in dress pants more. Dress pants sales are up, according to every source that I was looking up to look this story up. So for women, bold purple, and for men too. But for women, bold purple animal prints are out this year. Um, what was the other thing? There was something else that was kind of cool. Oh, plaids. Plaids are in this year. I love plaids. I don't look good in plaids though. Just don't. Not one of my things. Oh, hey, want to thank the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee for being our sponsor here on the show. Yes, new cup. By the way, did you notice? New cup. This is another. It is another Tahoe cup, but let's go this way. There we go, Lake Tahoe. Thank the great folks, 7 Weeks Coffee. 7 Weeks Coffee with delicious coffee with a purpose. Check them out at 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 when you check out. They appreciate it. We appreciate it. They're a great sponsor of Abundant TV and here on the morning break with Rob. Do you like the name? I was thinking about this. Do you like the name? I'm still I'm going either way. By the way, if you enjoyed this, if hey, this is just us hanging out. The premise for the morning break, and I hope you're starting to see it come into view, is the morning break is me just hanging out, talking about stuff that if we were hanging out together, we were grabbing coffee together, this is stuff we'd talk about, or at least I would. You may look at me crazy, but I would talk about it because it's fun and it's things. And of course, I can't leave you without some sports. By the way, I want to invite you, get in contact with me. We are getting ready to do another season of fantasy football. We use Yahoo Sports. This will be year 22 of my league. I have only, and if you're wondering, because some people say, well, I don't want to sign up because obviously it's your league, so you're going to like win. I haven't. I think I've only won 4 times out of 22 years. Got some great guys and gals playing. And it's a lot of fun. It is. It's one of those things that you get together. One of my biggest things, and I'm going to get to the story here. We'll get to the story. But one of my biggest things is finding ways to connect. I love connecting with my friends or with new people. And you're new if you don't know me. My name is Rob Patz. Hi, good to meet you. And this is called The Morning Break, and we're doing this show now Monday through Wednesday and Friday. Because Thursday is Thrive with Jason and I. Now, you never know. We may do this, but see, Thrive is on kind of the same time as I do this, so kind of, it would be a difficult thing. I'd have to change the time on Thursday. Did not think of that when I created the show. But the reason for fantasy football, and a lot of people tease about fantasy football, and that's fine. I've played for a long time. I've played since 98, so a long time. Enjoyed it. I enjoy sports, but I say all those things to tell you this. I enjoy the fellowship, the being together with other people who have a like-minded. I think it's why, and I say that to say this. I think it's why we love college sports. And I think that's kind of the same way. It's a community of people. Hey, listen, if you want to be a part of our fantasy football league, you have to let me know by Sunday of this week. So just a couple days away. Email me or send me a message here on YouTube, and we will make sure that you find that information. So, final thing for as far as sports and on this whole situation, some free agencies, some people still out there. Amari Cooper, that one to me is the most interesting one. I know he's not the same player he was. Love to see him go to the Seahawks. That is one of the big ones that are still out there. In my opinion, I think he would fit in really neat. And I think he's still got some gas left in the tank. I think he can still do something. Now, is he going to be the star he was in Dallas? Heavens no. And Asante Samuel Jr., he is out there as a corner. Seahawks are pretty good on the corner side, so I wouldn't say, but I see really good value. And again, is he the same guy he was a couple years ago? No, of course not. And it's like everything in life. You're not the same as you were 2 or 3 years ago. But anyway, would love for you to join our fantasy football league. Amari Cooper. Maybe next week we'll have some Amari Cooper update news. I think there's a couple places where he would fit. In one of those that I think would be kind of interesting, and I don't know their full wide receiver situation, but I think he'd be interesting in would be Green Bay. I think he'd be good there. Also, I think, and I don't know enough about the background, but I think he'd be kind of cool in Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers. Is this Aaron Rodgers farewell? Is this the last year for Aaron Rodgers? He's definitely different. Um, but you know what? Hey, I like people that kind of march to their own drum. So good for him. You be you, man. Um, but is this his last year? And would an Amari Cooper? They've got DK Metcalf there, but they really don't have much else. They traded their other wide receiver to Dallas. Uh, would an Amari Cooper, who's a vet, fit there? And would that make Aaron Rodgers happy? Which I don't know. I feel bad for Aaron. Do you feel kind of like he's hanging on? I mean, from the Packers to the Jets and now to Pittsburgh. Do you feel kind of like he's just like he should like go, like it's done? Hey, join us for fantasy football. Email me or send a message here in the comments. We'll make sure you get to be a part of our fantasy football league. This is our 19th year of doing it. I believe it's 19, or is it 20? It's 22. Sorry, 22nd year of doing our fantasy football league. And we would love to have you be a part of that. It is going to be a lot of fun. We don't overdo anything. Like there's not like an insane amount of trash talking or things like that. So don't worry. But we do have fun and we take it pretty seriously. So join us for fantasy football. Where's the week gone? I don't know. And I think how good God is, and I think how amazing this is. And has it been always easy? No. Have we had stops and starts? Yes. Is it going to be better next time? Of course. Monday we'll be back. We've got a morning break. We're going to talk about some neat stuff. I've already been planning for Monday. We're going to talk about it. Hey, remember to check out Abundant TV. It's abundanttv.com. Also, you can find us on your favorite app store, whether that's Apple or the Google store, or the whatever you want to call it, the Android store. And you can find us there for Abundant TV. Abundant TV is a 24-hour Christian streaming service, and we would appreciate seeing you there. Remember, abundanttv.com. You can find all that information there. And you know what? I want you to know this because I appreciate you. I appreciate every person. Last few shows have had really good numbers. I mean, we're not going viral or anything, but we're having good numbers, and it makes me want to come back and do this again. So you know what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll see you next Monday with the morning break.